All right, my next guest is on the air right now, representing Lexington, Kentucky. OCD is his record that came out as of this past December. The homie Mirage is on the air right now. How's it going, man?
What's going on, big homie?
Good, man. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate the opportunity.
So I've been supporting local music here in Kentucky for years now, and it feels like a treasure type of feel. Like me getting to see who's out there, who's doing music. And I've heard of you for quite some time, and I seen you perform. I think last month. I think at the Best Friends Bar. I think it was maybe a few weeks back. You, Dizzy Wallace, Walt Trey Clay, um, the Body Bag, a plethora of talented local hip hop artists, and I saw you that night for the first time. And I'm like, wow, this dude is dope, man. Mirage is the real deal. I like what I hear from this cat. So I listened to OCD, and I'm like, man, this dude is nice. He cool with it. Substance, I like that. So props to you, man, on this record you just put out, and you're already working on another record as well. So I definitely want to get into your music journey for sure. And with all that being said, how did you get started as a hip hop artist?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. By the way, just there was some amazing talent in the room that night, so that was awesome to kind of see what Louisville was doing and what Lexington is doing. But yeah, I got started in hip hop probably when I was really young, because my brothers would listen to it. Both of my brothers biological are older than me, so I would always. And when I was little, I would play with toys or whatever, and I could just feel the bass. I couldn't even hear none of the words. It was just the bass, and I would just like that feeling of the bass feeling. And then, you know, I mean, you can go all the way back to when I was a baby. My mom told me stories of bouncing me on her knee to rhythm to teach me rhythm and stuff. So I just feel like I've always been around it, and in my life, I've had a lot of change and transition, and so having hip hop be one of the most constant things in my life, I just kind of fell in love with it, and I just appreciated the lyricism in it, and some of the best spitters of all time, just how they would do it, and how they would be on approach a beat and approach different things. That was always just so amazing to me. And I don't know, I think I first just enjoyed it just as a fan. And around the time Soldier Boy and all that dance music came out, which, is fine in its own right, but I kind of felt like that's when Nas put out the album Hip Hop Is Dead. And I just started to feel like this art that I've appreciated since I was a kid is going away. And I just, I put my cape on and felt like it was up to me to try to do what I could to add to what I felt like was going away. So I picked up the pen and started writing, and I was horrible. And and then that was around the same time Lupe Fiasco came out, and he was actually a really big inspiration for me as well, because just he was like a breath of fresh air in that era at that time when it was all those other artists doing the other stuff. And so literally at BET would be on, and it would be like 8 dance songs and then one Lupe song, and I'd be so hyped for the Lupe song. So yeah, that's kind of where it all originated. And me and my friends in high school would just rap. And I was in the football team, and one of my friends got a studio in his house. So he was like, hey, man, y'all come through. We came through and started writing and recording just on some cheap, like we didn't have a lot of stuff. So it was just some cheap stuff, but, we was just now getting into it. And so we did that, put some mixtapes and stuff together, and still a lot of us didn't really know what we was doing. And it just kind of evolved over time. So, and then it became, like, probably by the time I went to college, it became like a real passion of mine. And I felt like, I was gifted as well, and I had put the time in and the work ethic in, and it was like, this is what I'm supposed to do, just period. Like, this is a gift given to me that I should use to help people. So yeah. Sorry, it's a long answer, but
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate that. Lupe Fiasco, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he has done for hip hop. Food and Liquor, that was definitely one of my favorite debut albums in so many years. He was indeed a breath of fresh air, and he definitely brought something different to the game, and he definitely deserves his praise for what he has done for the game. And I saw him perform in Lexington last year. That was one of the best concerts I went to in my life. Um, Lupe killed it from start to finish. Everybody was just with it. So Lupe is that dude. So I definitely like him for sure. Um, I definitely want to talk about your album that you put out last year, OCD. I play Hype and I play Thanos. You are very active in the rap game. You put out this record. You're doing like Fridays, freestyle Fridays, rapping on other people's beats. But let's talk about OCD in particular. What was that like recording that record, and what made you name the record OCD?
yeah, I mean, Odd kind of came about. Um, this is about being unique and different. And odd a lot of times is used as like a term of insult, like, man, you odd, you different, like you're weird. And I wanted to take that term and make it like, make it more embracing and make people be okay to be themselves and feel okay to be themselves and, um, to just express their uniqueness and not be afraid to do that. So I really try to take that energy on and kind of like, I like to think of it like karate when karate is about using someone's own force against them. So if somebody calls you an insult, I like to think of it as verbal karate to take something and then like push it back out in a helpful way. So it kind of came about as that, but I also wanted to simultaneously show the respect and the love for artists who put together like a full album that has like a theme and has like a thought process and is a full thing. And so the album is also telling my story. And I always feel like it took a long time for this to come out. My last full project is called Donuts and Coffee that came out in 2014. So I hadn't dropped a project in a while, just kind of some singles and doing some experimentation. But I really felt the pressure of I wanted the first project to answer the question, why should I care? Like, here's another rapper, here's another artist. Why does this person matter to me? And so I think the best way to answer that question is to tell your own personal story and do it with all the talent that you have. And I really feel like I answered that question. So that's kind of how that came about.
It's definitely a dope record. I definitely enjoyed it, and it was. And you definitely are lyrically talented, very gifted. How you put your words together and just make people think. So and some substance in it as well. So I definitely like the record. Definitely one of my favorite local albums of 2019. So it was definitely a good way for the local hip hop scene to end 2019 with a record like that. Just like, okay, he finished it strong for the scene. So it was a dope record.
I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was just kind of a compilation of work I'd worked on the last couple of years and really just trying to get into the nitty gritty of how I want things to flow and, not just thinking about this album, but also trying to think about, the next two or three albums. And that's something I want to do too, is be like a full artist. and that was something that took some time to create. When I first started, it was about like cadence and learning flow and learning how to rap on beat and learning like vocabulary and learning how the greats do it. So it was a lot of studying. It was studying different artists, listening to their work and figuring out how they did that, why they did that, and just asking questions. And then I came to a point where I was a seasoned rapper. Like I could put together lyrics and stuff, but then my song structure was really poor. So I couldn't, create a hook to save my life. So I really had to work on my songwriting and figure out a way to, take that to another level. And that was studying different artists and getting more into pop and like learning like what makes a hit single and Thriller and Michael Jackson and some of the greats of that kind of genre of music and trying to figure out, what is behind the scenes to make them create that. And basically, to put it simply, it's kind of like not really turning your brain off, but like you want your chorus to hook them. That's why they call it a hook. You want it to be something people can remember and that can stay with people and help people stay with the song. I would write, I write these complex verses where sometimes people get lost in what I'm saying. So it's like if you're going to do that, you really have to hook them almost extra hard to really get them to stay for the full song. So that's definitely something that, I've worked on as of late, probably in the last 5 years. That's what I really honed in on is my songwriting. And so then it just felt like it was time. It was time to create an album and to, I didn't feel like it was perfect. I think as artists, we never feel like it's perfect. But you get to a place where if you struggle with perfectionism, you're going to try to keep working on it forever. And it's like, you know what? I almost got to a point, actually, where I didn't put anything out. And I actually owe it to my girl because she was like, listen, you got to give these people these songs. Like, you can't just be sitting on this forever, And so now I'm always challenging other artists that I talk to just go ahead and put it out. Like, there's nothing wrong with just putting it out and just, doing what you feel like you want to do and making a statement with what you have. And then you can always improve and get better. And I think we just put, it's good to have pressure on yourself, but sometimes we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves to the point where nothing comes out. And that's what I hate to see is the writer's block and the, it's not good enough and the comparisons. And sometimes you get to a place where it's like, it's time. And so it was definitely that time.
Very, very true. As far as the local hip hop scene here in Lexington and surrounding areas, you've gotten a chance to do shows with other artists, getting to hear artists and the way they spit and the way they put their words out and everything. How would you describe the support that you've been getting from your fellow local hip hop artists as far as out here in Lexington and other areas?
Man, I really feel like it's starting to spread a little bit. For a long time, I think I mentioned earlier that, I put out my first full project in 2014, which is like 5 years, or, 6 years ago now. So but I think I had no clue how to like promote myself or market myself. And so I think that just a lot of people didn't know about me. It was kind of like hearsay, he say, she say, and it was a very small group of people that knew that I existed. But within the last year or two, I had a chance to work with some people and really understand and learn marketing from the sense of just kind of spreading. So now I think a lot of artists are, learning about who I am. They're hearing, different things, and maybe people share something and they're seeing something that way. So it's been a slow, steady growth, kind of like a grassroots approach, but I think people are now starting to find out. So, they show love. I remember I worked with Wall Trey was one of the first artists I kind of worked with way back in the day. I found him at like an open mic. And then, I've been trying to immerse myself even more in the culture. So, I've gotten a chance to meet like, Dizzy Wallace and Rock and that whole crew, Marley, and, Anonymous Rose, Young. So Youngin, I've had a chance to meet all these people, and now I'm even starting to meet the Louisville folks. So I was really glad when Dylan brought that group from Louisville down I had seen Mike Bandana before, but just kind of, getting a chance to really talk to him for a minute. Dustin Jones, the DJ, uh, meeting, House, just meeting all them, like that was really cool. And so, yeah, I think just more and more people are finding out about what I'm doing. And they always show love, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Dylan and to Mike. I've known them for a couple of years now. They've been one of the few Louisville artists that always do shows in Lexington or help put shows together at Lexington. They always show love. So it's good to see that there's some unity here on the scene and that people are just checking each other out, listening to the music. I like what Walt and Dizzy is doing with this collaboration project. I love the Barry Allen song. It is, I got that on repeat right now. That song is crazy. So it was dope to see them perform that song in person for the first time. So Lexington, we got some talented artists out there in Louisville as well. So I look forward to seeing what's next for the scene throughout the year 2020 moving forward for sure. Before I let you go, man, why don't you go ahead and promote your social media links and where can people hear your music?
Absolutely, yeah. So I try to keep everything the same. Some of it slightly different, simply because of people that already had that tag. But Instagram is I am Miraage, and it's I am like how you say I am, and then it's just Miraage with two A's, so it's Miraage. And I did that to differentiate myself as well. So anytime you type in Miraage in a search field, make sure you use two A's so that I can come up. But yeah, so YouTube is Miraage. I'm on all platforms as far as the music goes: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Tidal, Google Play, whatever you use. It's all on there under Miraage. Facebook is I am Miraage as well. And you can also find it by just Miraage by itself. Twitter, I am Miraage. So I try to keep everything the same. Then I have a website as well. It's IamMirage.com. So definitely check out everything and, give me a follow on your favorite platform. I have different things that I do throughout the week. You mentioned the Free Verse Fridays, and I like to try to make it a community thing. So I ask people, what they want me to spit on and make it like a whole thing. And then, also do Talk Tuesdays because I'm also a motivational speaker. So I do that as well. And so I ask people what topics they want me to touch on. And if I know something about it, I touch on it and, get community feedback as that as well. So just make sure you click follow and hit me up on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's stay connected. Let's build.
Yes, sir. Go check out Miraage record. Odd. Go support that record. Dope record for real. And he's already working on the next record. I was at that best friend show that night. And you did a new song that's gonna be off your next record, and I was like, man, I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for that record for real. So that was a dope show that night, and it was great chatting with you. It was good seeing you that night. Um, you're on the right path. You was brought on this earth to really to motivate people and to put out some incredible hip hop music. So you definitely rep the culture for real. So keep doing your thing, man. Continue success, and hopefully I'll see more of you in person in the future for sure.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate this interview, and I appreciate all the love, man, and just being a part of the Lexington culture. And we do have a lot of talent here, and so that's always a great thing to see that.